Good day. It is 28 April and about 2 p.m. And right now that is inside the boat. 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me see the button over here. 31 Celsius. So it is a very hot day inside the boat. The high outside is mid 80s or so. And tomorrow supposed to have a high of I think 90, 92. So it's going to be hot. But what I wanted to do is kind of show what I've been up to lately. Mainly, if you can guess from this shot, fiberglass. I got woven roving. That's 18-ounce woven roving and 1.5 ounce chopped strand mat. And down here, a 5-gallon bucket of resin. This right here is vinyl ester. And kind of stinks up the boat, but I haven't used it in the last couple weeks, so it's not too bad inside the boat. Otherwise, I would be wearing a full face mask. But that's not very pleasant when it's that hot and humid. But as you can see, the boat is in disarray, quite disorganized. The fans back here I used last year when it was getting pretty hot, and used it a little bit before and during the time I had an air conditioner that was up here in this hatch. But thinking about bringing it again, especially with how warm it is, and instead of putting it in that hatch, I'm thinking in the companionway. But more fiberglass. Some used brushes, pails ready. Got some brushes back in here. Yeah, it's been very busy. But then I got this full Tyvek suit. Got that little can right here. That's to keep any extra resin from pouring out the nozzle, which it helps. Kind of contains any mess. But then you can kind of see little shiny bits. That's from the chopped strand mat. Working with vinyl ester is interesting. It's not like West System where you get like one pump of the resin and another pump of the hardener, and it's equal ratio of what is it, 3 to 1 or 3.5 to 2? I don't know, some odd ratio. But that's for West System epoxy. I found out with vinyl ester and polyester resins, they use MEKP, methyl ethyl ketone peroxide, as the catalyst. And that is, actually I got a little bit right here. That's what this little bit is. And some of the other ones that I've used, the one with the black tape is still unused, but I think I got 4 little bottles in there. Then this one, that's 5th. So anyway, the MEKP catalyst is measured at 1.25% of the resin, and I kind of figured it up. I have this little handy chart that I made up. So it's basically 80 to 1. So 80 parts. Well, the way I'm doing it is this little digital scale, and I have it measured in grams. So 80 grams of resin to 1 gram of catalyst. And that is really a matter of just drops of the MEKP. And let's see if it's over here. Can't find it. Anyway, I got little pipettes. I think I got an extra one over here. So basically, these little things with a little suction bulb, using those to measure out the catalyst into the resin. For the most part, I haven't gone over 400 to 5. It's usually been that or less. Maybe once I went up to 480 to 6, but that's a lot. That's almost like half of this little quart-sized pail. But anyway, why am I doing this? Well, I'm far enough along in my project. I figured I'll show everyone what I'm up to. The major project I've been working on is a new fuel tank. I cut up the old one with the angle grinder, the aluminum pieces all cut out, and went back and forth, but I decided to do a fiberglass fuel tank. And yeah, I'm probably a little crazy for doing this because it's a lot of work, but here's my progress. Got the top in, with the tank being 5 feet long, about 12 inches wide, and it's about 2 feet deep. That's the space the old tank took up. And there's part of the cabin floor. Sweating, it's a little hot. So I just did some trim work. This right here, I first put in a little panel that I made with 3 layers of woven roving and 2 layers in between of chopped mat. Set it in and then did some additional layers. The last visit was 2 weeks ago, and well, previous to that, the top is 2 pieces. So kind of see this little line right here. That kind of separated the 2 pieces for the top. I kind of put a little bit of chopped mat tape. It's a very narrow piece of fiberglass that is right here. So basically cut it down in half, so that way each half I would fold it and put it into the corner to tab it in to the top of this tank. So that basically just held the top. Then what I did is last visit I cut up basically 6 total pieces. So 3 pieces of chopped mat and woven roving. And with this roll being 50 inches long, it covers most of the top of the tank. So from that end right there, the little shiny part that's sticking up, all the way to this part in the bilge is 5 feet long. So with the length of the roll being 50 inches, it actually brought it up to, about this far. So from back there over here. So just an additional piece for each layer of went on this end. So far today I've been doing some cleanup, trimming around the edges. Had a bunch of little fiberglass pieces sticking up. Using a Dremel over here, along with the vacuum and the oscillating tool, which ended up breaking a piece of the blade. But it still works. Well, I used the oscillating tool mainly on this forward piece. This is, I measured it at 5/16 of an inch. So that's how thick that is, with the panel that was already here and then the additional layers that went from the top and then came up. Where that little line is in the middle, there is a baffle inside. The baffle and then the 2 pieces that made the top Those are all flat panels that I made with 3 layers of woven roving and 2 layers in between of the chopped mat. And then once set in place, even with like the front and the baffle, I added additional layers in place. Took a little bit of time to get each layer because, you know, gravity does not work in my favor in this. Luckily, it did work well in doing the rest of the top. So I was able to do the additional layers of glass last visit 2 weeks ago. And this is what I got. This light spot is because I had my knee on it. It is pretty solid, and it does support my weight. So it's getting closer, almost done, relatively, considering I've been working on this for most of the past year. Anyway, it's not an easy project. It's a lot of hard work, especially on days like today when it's very hot. You know, still says 88. One thing someone's probably thinking is, would I consider doing this again? Probably not. I only know of one other North C-27 owner who went with the fiberglass tank. I think they did theirs in 2005. And also they used some sort of epoxy type paint, not paint, but some sort of epoxy based resin. And I emailed them, got a reply, and I was told there was no issues with their tank. Since it's diesel, should not be any problems. The main problems with fiberglass tanks comes when used with a gasoline engine, because gasoline with the additive of ethanol basically eats up through the resin and it'll turn everything into mush. So diesel engine should not be a problem. Vinyl ester, from what I've read, is pretty good at chemical resistance on diesel. It's used on diesel fuel tanks for commercial uses, from what I've read some time ago. And let's see what else. Well, once I get the top of the tank sorted out and the inspection plates sorted out too, I plan on painting the inside, kind of get it to be nice and bright in there. But once I cut the holes for the inspection plates, which would be right there, it was recommended to me by someone else to paint the inside of the tank with basically barrier coat, you know, getting like 4 or 5 coats of barrier coat paint, and that'll help seal any, you know, basically seal it up. And then there's a specific fuel tank liner that comes in a little paint can, and that'll be used to coat the inside and help protect everything as well. From what I've read, vinyl ester, well, diesel can be used right on vinyl ester directly and shouldn't be a problem. It was recommended to me that the paint and the tank liner is just added protection, just for long-lasting use. Right now, this is the main project I'm working on, is getting this fuel tank taken care of, and then get the engine back in. And then I hope that the rest of the projects are what I need to do to get this boat floating again. I would expect the rest to go fairly quickly, all things considered. So it's still a lot of work ahead of me. I just wanted to do a quick share of what I've been up to, since I haven't really put out info on this project specifically. So if there's any questions, just feel free to post anything, and I will try to answer the best I can. And In the meantime, I'm probably going to call it a day and do some cleanup and head back to the house. Really, you can see I got a lot of cleaning up to do. So once a lot of this is taken care of, I plan on emptying everything out and cleaning up the boat, and then cleaning everything before it comes back in the boat.